knitting this cute kitten. Okay, the word for this kitten is body. The ears and tail are integrated. We don't need to sew alone. Just suture the middle part of the body. And the side of the ear is fine. And let's start crocheting the body. First, the circular needle is loose stitches. Okay, here we go. Press and hold the cross section. Let's start with a standing needle. Crochet through the coil with the wire. Okay, the thread is brought from the coil on the crochet. Let's start knitting the first stitch. Okay, crochet through the coil and bring the wire over. At this time, there are 2 coils on the crochet. Okay, the bottom winding. Take the 2 coils in turn. Generates a V shape. Such a V shape is a needle. Then take the mark buckle below. Make a mark on the first needle. Okay, let's start knitting the second stitch. Crochet through the coil with the wire. Then wind the wire. Bring it from the 2 coils on the crochet in turn. Okay, the third stitch below. Fourth. Fifth. Okay, number 6. Little needle change over. Same. We put the mark on the 6th pin. Make a mark too. So let's go ahead and lengthen the coil. Then tighten the thread. Must be tightened. After tightening the thread, let me go back to the first stage. Recruit. Crochet into the first stitch where the marker buckle is located. Okay, bring the line down here. After bring it directly from the coil on the crochet. Okay, let's tighten the pull needle directly. Be sure to tighten. After tightening, we stand a standing pin below. Okay, bring the crochet winding. At the end of each circle, go back to the first ladder. At the beginning of each lap, there is a standing pin. Okay, so let's do the second loop. The second circle is loop pins. Okay, so a V is a pin. Just add a needle. It is to knit 2 short needles in this needle mesh. Let's start knitting the first needle. The first is the first pin where the marker buckle is located. Crochet into mark clasp. Take it off. We are going to knit the first needle. Same. Take the mark and buckle it on the first letter to make a mark. Okay, here's the first stitch. Knit another short needle. If you add a needle, the knitting is over. Knit the second needle below. Crochet into the next stitch. Okay, let's move on. Second stitch. Two needles made into a love letter. Knit the third needle below. Continue or add the third needle. So let's repeat. End of the second circle
There
of
are
stitching.
sharp stitches in total.
We deduct from the first minus sign to the last minus button. You can check the number of needles yourself. There are sure such V shapes. Okay, if there is no problem, let's go back to the first letter. Draw good crochet. Enter the first letter of the button. Bring the wire. After bringing the line, bring it directly from the coil on the crochet. Be sure to tighten. Okay, after tightening, and I'm going to show you a standing needle. Bring the winding. Okay, so let's do the third loop. The third lap. First of all, we need to put it in the first needle, knitting 3 short needles. Okay, the first pin where the marker is. You must pay attention to the way I carry the line. If the method of bringing lines comes out differently. Okay, so here's the first needle. Crochet from top to bottom with thread. Okay, bring the winding. We are the same. Make a mark on the first letter. Continue below. Still the first letter. Continue to penetrate. Then knit the second short needle. Okay, here we go. First stitch. Knitting the third short needle. Okay, in that case, our first one. With the first stitch, you're done. Let's continue knitting. Okay, I need to knit 2 needles below. Okay, same crochet through the second stitch. Next needle mesh knitting 1 plus needle. If you add a needle, we just need to be in this needle by needle. Knitting 2 and short needles. Okay, we move on to the next stitch. That's the third needle. Knitting the second needle. Okay, let's move on to the next letter. Knitting 3D plus needle. So let's repeat. Knit semi or plus needles. 6 needle knitting ends. Next we need to knit the cat's feet. Well, first of all, we need to switch wires so our needle is added. The last short needle needs to be returned to it. After returning it, the crochet goes through these 2 coils. Okay, now we're going to bring in another color line. Okay. Bring it directly from the 2 coils. After bringing it, we use our light brown line below. Knit a popcorn needle. Okay, we're knitting 5 long popcorn needles. So let's look at the knitting method. Let's press this wire. Okay, hold the thread at the back with your left hand. Next we knit popcorn needles. Crochet first and wind first. and then penetrate the next needle. Bring the wire. Okay, after the single line comes over. At this moment, there are 3 coils on the crochet. Okay, the bottom winding. Bring it from the first 2 coils. Okay, let's continue winding. Penetrate the same needle. Bring the wire. Okay, now there are 4 coils on the crochet. The wire is brought from the first 2 coils. Okay, let's continue winding. It's the same needle. We need to weave in this needle. Knit 1 finished long needles. Okay, here's the third one. The same wire is carried from the first 2 coils. Good thread surface weaving. The first winding goes through the same branch. Bring the wire. Okay, the wire is brought from the first 2 coils. Fifth winding below. Penetration is still this needle. Bring the wire. After bringing the line, the wire is brought from the first 2 coils. Okay, after bringing it here, next we need to change the line. Okay, let's switch back. Our main color line. White line. Bring the wire directly. Pass through low coils in turn. Okay, in that case, one of our popcorn needles ended up bleeding. Then we need to put it in the next letter. Knitting 3 short needles. Make 3 short needles in 1 letter. We need to find, because here's a popcorn needle. So we need to open him up a little bit. This place is our next target. Okay, let's knit down. 3 short needles. The first one. Tighten a little. Fortunately, when knitting, our threads are directly disconnected. This light-colored line is no longer needed. We just disconnect it. After opening it, we can hide the thread. When knitting, weave it into the fabric. We can also tie these 2 threads in a knot. Okay. So let's go straight to knitting. Continue with the same subtitle. Still the same letter, continue 3. Okay, 3 short stitches over.